The Millard Laugle Sr. started Batesville Ornamental Works in his backyard shed in the 1940s.
My dad makes sand castings, ram up sand. In the beginning, we used ink. The first metal we poured.
The business picked up, and they moved to the second floor above a Kroger building in Batesville, Indiana.
Working on the second floor, we carry a ton of zinc up steps, take about 5 guys. We melt up there and pour slush metal up there, and we made a monument for World War II veterans. That's in Batesville by the swimming pool. When we were still in Batesville, under the Ornamental Works, we did ecclesiastical work. Up in Centerville, Ohio, we made water fonts and stuff like that. St. Bernard to St. Clemens, we made the bronze church doors. My dad made plaques to put on the doors. Yeah, Millard Jr., Neil, Gene. Yeah, I'm the one still living.
John ended up a great employee and a wonderful asset. Neil was John's brother. He did kind of the artistic stuff. He did a lot of pattern work and tooling and stuff like that.
We incorporated, I think it was in 56 or 57, and moved to Lawrenceburg, and it's still there. That's the year my dad passed away. Yeah, Justin showed up out of the clear blue.
When Dad kind of came into the business, Batesville Ornamental Works had fallen on hard times, and that Dad kind of looked at this as an opportunity to take on a new venture.
Dad bought Batesville, it would have been 66. Dad restructured the debt with the bank, and he bought, for $5,000, he bought 51% of the business.
Which was a big jump when you got 10 kids, to feed, and on a shaky business. So always tell the story of that and the courage it took for them, he and my mother both, to take on such a big risk.
When Dad took over, they were doing, I think, about $150,000 to $200,000 a year in sales. They were $300,000 in debt.
When Justin came on board, one of the first things he did was make sure everybody got paid. So Justin, that's where his management came in and so on. He didn't know how to do it, that's all. Yeah, Justin just started slowly build it up.
At the time that Dad bought this, the only building was the cinder block building on Margaret Street, and then a smaller building on the back, kind of almost like a lean-to where the buffing was done. They had a very, very small plating department and the foundry, and that was the entire thing. I think there were like 15 employees, 12 employees, something like that.
Well, I always think he thought that if you weren't growing, you were dying. And so he always felt like you needed to kind of push the envelope a little bit beyond your comfort zone. And I think the buildings were added on because he just saw that as the restrictions of the current buildings being what they were, that if the company was going to grow into other areas, especially machining or something other than what they were currently doing, they were going to need more space.
The first big expansion was to the back where the buffing room was. That probably would have been in the mid-70s, and then added on the third building onto the back of that, and then eventually the fourth building.
So it was kind of a section by section expansion. If you look at the building in Lawrenceburg, it looks like a hodgepodge of different walls put together like a Lego block. And that's kind of because of the way the growth of the company came. It came in incremental pieces, so it wasn't like they could go out and buy a new facility or invest in a new facility. They kind of had to work with what they had and just expand upon it.
We didn't have we didn't have that, what do you call that machine, CMN machining? So Ricky and the guys came on.
Well, they did some machining from the very beginning, but mostly just drill press kind of stuff, drill press and tapping.
They had made the early decisions to jump into like CNC machining. So we bought 3 machines that were all used, but it gave us the opportunity to learn the technology and to start to get into that field. And fairly quickly after that, we started to upgrade the equipment and bought some CNC equipment that was brand new.
Little by little, you just add another machine here and there. Same way in the foundry, adding the electric melting furnaces, learning to do tilt pour and all that kind of stuff.
So Batesville Products has always been involved with technology, whether it's not necessarily just robots and computers, but abrasive technology. Technology has to do with the chemistry, better castings through chemistry.
Ricky kind of did the engineering when Justin was there.
I worked basically on a lot of the shop floor jobs, learned the ropes through there, and then kind of went into engineering and machining And from there, kind of worked into some mid-level management before I became vice president.
74, 75, something like that, I came back as a sales manager. You know, in a matter of about less than a year, I had brought on maybe 8 fire truck companies, and that's when the business really, I think, started to grow.
Once Dad passed the company along beginning in 1989, I think from that point on, it was a team effort. We kind of built a management team that stuck together for close to 25 years.
I think from the very beginning, this has been a very family-oriented company. We've built upon that and continued upon that.
Well, it was a family management team for sure. I was president of the company in 1989. My oldest brother Jay, was executive vice president. Tom Kirsting, who's my brother-in-law, became vice president and general manager. Terry McCarthy became sales manager and vice president of sales. And Tim Weber became sales and advertising marketing. So that group of 5 of us all working together was able to continue to do the things that we had done earlier, but even build upon it even more.
Yeah, so the future looks very bright. We've been very involved with the community in different ways over the years. We've got a lot of good people in the foundry, a lot of good people in the engineering, a lot of good technology, a lot of energy, a lot of history in the machine shop. Same thing in the polishing area.
After Len came on board as president in 2015, I served a couple years as CEO of the company and then retired in 2017.
Several years ago, we got involved with robots, but then we've really stepped it up the last couple of years as far as sawing robots, working on robots that will assist in the machine shop. We have a robot set up in the polishing department, so those type of things have really stepped up.
It's a very stable company. We're not going anywhere. We've been here for 75 years. Very family-oriented, innovative.
Family, loyal, and outstanding. In 41 years, I've never seen a soul laid off at Batesville Products.
We've got lots of employees here that've been here, 20, 30, 40 years.
I'm in my 38th, 39th year here at Batesville Products.
I have been here over 33 years.
41 years.
That's a good underlying story to this general success of the business. Think about all of the family members that have wandered through there at various times.
Batesville Products is a family-owned company. We've got a large family, 10 kids in the family, 5 boys and 5 girls. We've all worked here at different times.
I think the family interest is still there. I always talk about the adage of shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. It's you get to that 3rd generation, and there's a big question mark on whether you can make that leap from 2nd to 3rd generation.
We are currently into the 3rd generation working here at Batesville Products. Tim Williams is the national sales manager, and Rachel Weber. Rachel is Len's daughter, very much a family environment.
You always try to keep attracting the next generation for the future.
I've had such a fantastic career and such a wonderful life that I would not have been able to do any of that but for my early experience with Batesville.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the shop. We couldn't have done any of this stuff there if I didn't have my life with the Batesville Products.
I mean, I don't think Dad would, I think when he bought it, would never have believed it would turn into what it is today.